Good morning and welcome to the Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 annual meeting of the Bethlehem Industrial Development Agency Board. My name is Chris Welch. I am the Vice Chair. We are meeting in room 101 at the Town of Bethlehem Town Hall. All of our meetings are open to the public and we encourage anyone to join us for the meetings on their Wednesday mornings. So our first order of business is a roll call. We'll go to the left.
Brian Connor, town staff to the IDA.
Ted Barbieri, board member, secretary.
I'm David Van Leuven. I'm the town supervisor and I'm a visitor today.
Jillian Moore, intern at Hedgeman Mall.
Victor Franco, board member.
Joaquin Hoke, volunteer for Hedgeman Mall, and
Georgette Steffens Altamari, board member.
Richard Cowell, board member, treasurer.
Kate Hedgeman, executive director and agency counsel.
Alexis Carlin, associate at Hedgeman Law Firm.
I will note that we have a quorum, and so I will call the meeting to order at 8:36. So our first order of business is going to be the approval of the minutes from the March 26th, 2025 meeting. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second. All right. Get that. Any discussion? All right. We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So the motion passes. And in our new business, we have the approval of our annual housekeeping resolution.
That we just did that.
No, we did the minutes. didn't we?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes. Minutes.
We could have done a vote.
Yeah. Go, I thought you did involve, but yeah. Go ahead.
I'll take a motion for the approval of the annual housekeeping resolution.
I will just note my last name spelled wrong
Okay.
in the earlier part on page 1 and 2.
All right. We can correct that.
E instead of A, but it's spelled correctly in the other parts.
Okay.
With that edit, I will happily motion
Okay.
to
So we
approve.
have a motion.
And one change of mine as well. You got my grandfather as the audit committee and myself as chair of government. So if the audit committee can just reflect, the middle initial.
Okay. So what, how do you wish your name to be listed?
Victor E. Franco Jr.
We will fix that. We like your grandfather, but
We need,
he doesn't need to get up.
it's just, I'm sorry, this is picky, but
No.
do we need to say that bond counsel, special counsel, they get no appointment at the time? Is that,
Yeah.
we have to say
We
that?
usually, yeah.
Okay, then, no more.
Yeah.
Good, perfect.
All right.
Until we put out an RFP for that, which we will do shortly.
Okay, I didn't know we had a statement, there's nobody.
Anything else?
So we have,
So I have a motion with
motion.
the two,
We need a second.
two edits.
all right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so our approval of the annual housekeeping resolution passes. And so now we will take a motion to adjourn the annual business meeting.
So moved.
All right, a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for everyone to be chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. I know it's extra work, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so we will close the meeting at, what do we got,
38.
8:38.
All right, sir. I'm gonna open the next
Ready
one.
for the next one?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you needed to.
Nope.
Nope, you're ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome to the, do we need to say all? Okay, welcome to the Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 regular meeting of the Bethlehem Town IDA Board. I'm Chris Welch, I'm the vice chair, and we are meeting, as always, in room 101 of the Bethlehem Town Hall. The public is always welcome to join, and we encourage people to come and join us. So our first order of business is going to be a roll call again. So we'll go to the left.
Okay, Brianne Connor, Senior Economic Developer. I forgot that
Still.
last time. Staff to
We
the
gotta go back
IDA.
and redo the meeting.
I know.
Ted DeBarbieri, board member and secretary.
David Van Leuven, Town Supervisor, Visitor.
Jillian Moore, intern at Hedgeman Law.
Victor Franco, board.
Jackie Hope, board member.
Georgette Steffens Altamari, board member.
Richard Cottle, board member, treasurer.
Kate Hedgeman, Agency Counsel and Executive Director.
Alexis Carlin, associate at Hedgeman Law Firm.
All right, so I will note that we once again have a quorum, and thank you all for being here. And we will open the regular meeting at, what have we got, 8:40? So our first order of business is going to be the approval of the minutes from the is it January 14th?
Yes.
Okay, January 14th, 2026 regular meeting.
So moved.
There's a,
Yeah, I don't know if so noting late arrivals matters with respect to votes and that sort of thing. I don't know that we need to note them unless it's in connection with votes.
Well,
Or if you-
because,
Yeah, or if you have a
because,
particular take.
yeah, my take is because we're implementing a new attendance policy, late arrivals have to be on.
Oh, okay. And I'm sorry, remind me where, just about the new attendance policy
It's gonna be covered in my
in governance.
governance. Yeah,
Okay. So new norms or new policy.
correct.
Okay.
So, I don't wanna jump ahead, but we'll get there, trust me, I'll.
Okay.
When the music, when the music, when there's music in my head right now, I'm trying really hard. When the meeting starts and you're not present, we're noting your presence on the record when you arrive late. That's really for that. That's why. Because when we do the roll call, if you're not here, then you're not here. So we note that you come in late because if you're going to vote later on something or,
Sure.
That's really why. But we've done that since I've been director, at least. So I don't know. Victoria's not here for all the institutional knowledge today, but that's why.
Yeah, if there's been thought put in that we're going to talk about later, then cool. That makes sense. And absolutely it makes sense in the context of like recording board action. So
And
I'll hold back my
I'm in the
discussion.
boat with you,
I know,
because I
yeah,
was
yeah.
5 minutes late and, so.
yeah, so I just, when we have that conversation, get clarity would be great. And
Absolutely.
when I look forward to discussing it.
Right.
Any other discussion of the meetings from the January 14th meeting? All right, so I will take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
All right, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the minutes passes. So our second item will be the financial report from the January and February 2026 financials. So Al, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, do we want to do each month separately, or do you want me to just do the February because it's combining January, February? I'll leave it up.
He's nodding that he'd like it done separately.
No.
No, he would have did
No,
together.
Together.
Okay. all right.
Together. No, no, this-
Okay.
We don't have enough activity for month by month.
All right.
Okay, so
Together.
our February statements, statement of net assets, we've got $1,902,577.28 in cash accounts, $25,83.34 in prepaid expenses, giving us total assets of $1,905,160.62. Accrued expenses, we have $17,583.30. Once again, that's the prior month fee for the executive director and the accrual for the town services each month. So that gives us net equity of $1,887,577.32. And of course, those two add up to $1,905,160.62. We go to statement of revenue and expenses, and it would have been the same in January and February. We bill in January all of our various annual fees to our projects and other agreements. And of course, I want to note they also paid within a timely fashion. So our total revenue is $138,283. Expenses, contractual expenses, $36,886.22. Business and economic development, $67,64.85. Total expenses 43,650,107, giving us net ordinary income of 94,631.93. Interest income looks high because one of our CDs matured in February, and so all of that's interest that had been perking up came in of 13,756.07, giving us net income of 108,388. Compare actual to budget. The income, it's kind of, I'm playing around with the number. We were supposed to collect 125 on PSEG. We collected it. I put that all as the budget in January, just so we don't stretch out over the course of the year. Our fee income, we're ahead of budget, but that'll catch up, and then we'll get behind unless we close a project. Contractual expenses were over budget, but that's because we pay the auditors and other fees early in the year. That'll even out. At business and economic development, we're under budget, but that'll catch up as we start getting more bills on the project we've got going on. So right now we're running ahead of budget, but there's a lot of the year left to go. The important part is that the annual fees that we had to bill, we billed, and our projects paid us in a timely manner, which is always nice. Are there any questions on the?
As you know, Al, I got one point, and it's a small point again. Is I've sent 2 emails to our account rep at M&T about asking her why we're paying service charges, especially we've got over $450,000 in our checking account, and she hasn't answered. I would expect an answer.
Yeah, I saw that, and the only thing I have, these banks are funny. We're all old enough, or a lot of us are old enough to remember when the bank would give you a toaster and a calendar to open an account, and somewhere along the line, the last 10, 15 years, that changed. We had to leave one bank because they were charging us over $100 a month to maintain a checking account where we wrote 3 checks and had an average balance of $300,000 or $400,000. M&T does pay us interest on the account, and they're collateralizing all of the money we have with them. That could be the only reason I see why they see fit to charge us, because we generally only write 4 or 5 checks a month and make on the average 1 deposit. But I'd like to hear back from them too, because maybe we could get an answer that makes sense to all of us.
Yeah, I mean, our interest is less than the service charge, so I think it is.
No, the interest is 2 or 3 times. We're usually getting a couple hundred a month on the interest, and they're dinging us 50 or 60 or $80 for the service charge. So it's
she should respond to my request.
Yes, I would hope so too, because it's a valid request.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what their answer is.
Okay.
The next time we have a finance committee meeting, or we can call one, I've had a chance to talk to 2 different banks with municipal banking departments that have other IDAs and are familiar with a lot of the work that we do. So we might want to consider talking with them and potentially moving banks if it makes sense. A lot of the banks in town are smaller. They're not necessarily set up for commercial loans and things that you might need, to develop and acquire property either. So I think we should have a discussion at some point, about the banking, and we can do that at a different, meeting.
Yep.
Well, there's some banks that are aggressive right now in the market and doing some good stuff right now.
Okay, M&T has been a good partner. Okay, they've worked well with us, except for answering this email. I really have no
problems.
What? No
No
problem.
concerns. Yeah.
And nothing from them. So that's out of respect, we got $1.2 million in that bank. They should
Respond to your email. Yeah.
It's,
Any other questions? Thank you, Al. So we can move on to Kate's Executive Director report.
Sure. I guess mine's pretty brief because I know a lot of the committees met and I don't want to steal their thunder and, presenting about what we've been talking about. And of course, I'm sure Brianne will have some, but the biggest thing on our plate has been the GB2 pilot, which finally closed. That was a 2-year marathon. So that was one of our accomplishments for 2025. Trying to think of what else I wanted to. Because Brianne's got a big update, so I'll let her do most of that. But from the law side, and later we'll have a legislative report, which I think you will find extremely interesting. Some of the bills that are in the legislature regarding IDAs. So.
Did you want to just mention about the conference?
Sure. Most of the board, I think, 4 or 5 of you attended the conference at the New York State Economic Development in Albany. And I think this one in particular was better than last year, but it was just on the topics and things. So we were there for a full day. And I know Alexis went on day 2, and I'm not sure if Victoria went, but Victor did. You went the second day. So, I think as far as IDAs go, I think we had the record for attendance. Yeah. But we're in Albany, so that makes sense, right? Like we should, to the extent that everyone's available, and it's good training, and it's a good way to stay on top of what the economic development issues are in the state. And at least for us, all our local folks, the county's there, City of Albany's there, so we can all kind of see each other and talk as well. So that was a really good opportunity for that. I don't know if you had any other takeaways that.
I agree with you. I thought it was better than last year, although Shah didn't present this year. Yeah, that was the highlight of last year. But no, I thought it was great, and I thought it was great that we had such great attendance. Thank you, everybody for coming.
The second day, and Alexis went, and that was where there was a session on SECRA and the changes to the environmental, but they didn't say very much. It was kind of that 30,000
Yeah,
foot
we were both in there.
view. So Jillian actually took a look at a little bit more in depth about what the Let Them Build program is and how it relates to changes in SECRA. But it is interesting because they are going to exempt smaller projects. I think it's 100 units or something. Yeah. Which is really, really interesting. And, I think it could in most municipalities, it would fast track a planning board decision. But, there might be other issues that need to be addressed. But you certainly wouldn't have the red tape anymore of a smaller development to have to do a full-blown environmental impact statement. So,
just one other note is I think it's really great that when we go and we've got as many members as we've got, we can spread out and people can go to different sessions and we can really get a good view of what's going on across the whole conference. So thanks everybody for going. That was great.
On the closing panel, I thought was good. They talked about the report out how New York is not the best place to do business in, and it's not perceived nationally as
it's not
exciting place to do business in. And so that was like the last closeout panel, which I thought was good because everybody there is really focused on, like, we talk seeker. I'm dealing with DEC on another thing. And so just trying to do business and understanding that not only are we losing population in other states, but other states are eating us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And everyone was talking about Texas the whole time.
Yeah.
And so,
it's a Wild West.
It is. It is. And my recent visit to Dallas, I see why it is crazy. Yeah, it's hard to not see what's going on and feel some kind of way about it, especially about here. So I think that is going to have some more political or policy implications beyond seeker. I know they talked about some stuff with DEC. But, state of New York and the governor is really aimed at moving our state forward for business and for housing. So that was, I think, the closeout that I really appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a positive development, and if they do some of what they're really pushing, it's going to be helpful. So I'm kind of surprised because it's been so long, like no one's really, tried to do something like that. So,
I mean, the way they framed it, the governor is really taking a critical look at that document and that report out from the business community and looking to do something about it.
well, even some of the other developments that are going on around the state, when you use money from HCR or you use money, federal grants like home grants or things like that, there's all these requirements, and there might not be that bird species in the area, but they're going to make you look for it. Like, it's crazy. And it drives housing developers, Habitats for Humanity, all kinds of, developers absolutely nuts because it makes absolutely no sense in all circumstances. So anyway, okay, cool.
All right. So move on to the committee reports. So first we've got our audit committee presentation. Georgia?
All right, so the audit committee met at the end of February. And honestly, I know everyone's had a copy of the audit, but there really isn't anything significant to report. There were no deficiencies. There was no concern expressed by the auditor. We saw a minor net decrease by roughly $20,000 out of 1.8 million, right? And so that decrease was something that the board had voted on, some of the economic development money that we have committed to spending. So there was nothing really of note in the audit. So that's my report. And then the committee recommends approving the audit as presented. Does anyone have any questions?
We'll vote under that, under new business.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. So governance committee.
All right, so governance met on February 4th. We discussed revisions to basically kind of like a two-tiered approach to training, one internal, one external. The external training, the ABO requires that members be trained by them within 1 year of appointment, but then also subsequently on a continuing basis. So they further define continuing basis as every 3 years. So since the last brand new tranche of bulk of board members came in roughly over 3 years ago, we thought it'd be a good idea to kind of get everybody re-upped or renewed with ABO on a kind of like a continual basis. So 2026 will be kind of like our year, and then in 2029 we'll renew again and just go every 3 years, providing that it's the same board members. I personally took the ABO retraining a couple weeks ago. It lasted about an hour and a half. It was online, very simple to do. I can email people the link because the expectation is to try to get everybody again retrained, hopefully by the end of the summer, so that this way we can kind of start that 3-year cycle. In terms of internal training, Kate and her staff has been working on kind of like doing the nuts and bolts of what does it mean to be a board member, and how does what we do and our mission kind of dovetail into the applications we'll be reviewing, the types of projects we'll be working on, stuff like that. So, I think at some point there'll be a date announced, and then, the expectation of the board is to be present for the interior training as well. In addition to that, the governance committee is kind of like responsible for crossing T's, dotting I's. So we went back through our records and, with the help of town board, or not town board, but town staff, kind of figuring out, has everybody signed their oath of office? Has everybody been trained? When were we appointed? So on and so forth, to kind of level set And through that process, thank you to everybody who took their time in order to do what needed to be done, in order to become, cross those T's and dot those I's. We also kind of did a marketing committee charter. Was that brought up at the last committee meeting?
It wasn't, but I think we talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So at some point, you guys would have to approve it because then it goes to the full board for their approval. Okay. And then once that's done, we've reviewed all committee charters. Everything's up to date and ready to go. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, May 7th at 8 a.m. And then at that meeting, we're going to review the board attendance policy. There is a draft that's been kicking around. Everybody should have gotten those big orange binders. In the binders, I reviewed, okay, this is great in terms of what we have. I'm looking at it from two perspectives. One, what needs to be updated and make sure that we're in compliance with recent ABO, but also what's missing. And the obvious thing that was missing was an attendance policy. One has been drafted. We're kicking around, okay, so what's the trigger in terms of being potentially removed from the board? What trigger has to happen in order to get a warning? What does the warning look like? Is it public? Is it internal? All those things, if you're late, does that count against you? So all those things will be worked out within this attendance policy. And then once we nail it down at our May 7th meeting, we'll bring it to the full board for your guys' discussion and vote. In addition to that, we'll be looking at a financial assistance policy, and then of course review the IDA's application for funding. So with all that being said, just to remind people, please check the ABO website. I'll send an email out with that link in terms of where to find it, because they did revamp their website recently, because they have a new executive director, and he's very, very proactive in trying to re-engage and get new staff and do a lot of things that the ABO haven't done in the past. So we look forward to seeing what that entails.
So
And that
Victor,
concludes my report.
if you send out the link and we do take it, do we notify you and Kate?
Yeah, so what happens is you'll get an email acknowledging the fact that you completed the training. Then that email gets forwarded to both Kate and myself. And then I update our tracking record, and then.
So it automatically goes to you guys?
No,
No, it doesn't go
goes to
automatically,
you.
though.
It goes to your
And
email.
And I forward it to,
Yes.
okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
All right.
Is the ABO training the same for any public authority board you're on, or?
Yes.
Correct.
So that's the thing with the people who are serving, on other boards, as long as you've taken it for some board
Yeah,
within that
I'll
3 years,
have to.
we can accept that. There'd be no reason to do it, twice. And then when, we do the training, I'll go a little bit more in depth on a lot of the fiduciary things, but more importantly, how the financial assistance policy and the UTEP fit into, your decision-making and your process for looking at projects and different things. Because I think that's what's missing. Like the ABO does not cover that. They cover the public officers law, the open meetings law, things like that. But not really, well, if you're new to a board, what are you looking at for a project? What do you consider? Why do you need to consider it? Well, it's in the statute, right? So.
Oh, that's great.
Just one question. Does the committee have a process for either taking proposals to review other policies, either that we have or don't have?
Yeah, so as previously discussed, we're taking a two-pronged approach where we're taking a small policy, reviewing it, and then a larger policy. And then so the small policies are on a kind of like a monthly basis almost, and the larger stuff like the UTEP, the application for financing, all that stuff, which is bigger burden to bear, that is stretched out over a longer period of time so that we can really delve into it. Any member or even a member of the public can come and attend the governance committee meeting. So by all means, if anybody's interested, feel free, love to have people.
Did you want to go over the board evaluation?
There was a spot under new business.
Oh, okay, you're gonna
where
do
that
it there?
was.
Okay,
I'm just teeing it up.
okay, got it. All right, so, before we do the economic developers report, did you want to give a quick legislative update, Jillian? Do that first. When Jillian sent me her memo, I was like, wow, look at some of this. I hope Jock comes back in because his head's gonna spin, but I'll turn it over to you, Jillian.
Yeah, okay, so all of the bills that I'm going to talk about are still sitting in committees now, mostly the local government committee and the economic development committee. All of them were introduced during last year's session as well, so we're not too sure that they are going to get passed, but it's good to understand and just hear about the discourse around some of the legislation that is being introduced concerning IDAs. So the first two bills deal with oversight and accountability of IDAs, and Bill 5563 allows for independent examination and audit of projects and actions taken by IDAs on the local county level.
Is that an assembly print or senate print?
Assembly. So this bill would add an additional level of accountability and enhance public confidence in IDAs. The next bill is 52.
Sorry,
Yeah.
so the county could say, we want to come in and look at your papers, even though we have an audit and we do all the other things and we have to prepare a report.
See, I knew you were gonna have a heart attack.
Like, why would you need additional if you're doing all the other?
So-
For public confidence.
But
What-
clearly.
What I think we should do, and we'll have to figure out if it's a committee or if it's the board, but for some of these, we
Yeah,
might consider
need to
writing a letter.
consider
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
But I
That's
wanted you to hear
ridiculous.
it first, think about it, you know
Sorry.
what I mean, and then,
Yeah. So, and let the public record reflect, I cannot be involved in any type of advocacy regarding state legislation, either for, against, or otherwise.
Okay.
Right, so.
yes, no problem.
Right.
Okay.
But wait, there's more.
That's only the first one.
And then the next bill is 5258. This bill will prohibit county IDAs from offering financial assistance to private companies for projects located in a municipality where such municipality has its own IDA. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
That's good
Okay.
news.
Mhm.
Support.
The goal,
That's a good one.
the goal of this bill is to prevent companies from shopping around for the
Yeah.
best financial benefit possible from IDAs.
What
And then
if,
the next two,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If the local votes it down, then it's done.
I don't know that that's in the bill, but yeah, we can get the text and look at it, but I think it's just
Okay, that's all right, I just,
the consent, yeah.
I
Sorry.
think it's
The one
just,
long thing talking about the
like,
county
it's the IDA
So-
has
to do projects, the
so
local.
we have the right of first refusal.
Right, that's what it's saying.
Okay.
The county shouldn't,
Okay, right of first refusal.
So that wasn't in a place of, that was just like,
That's at the
Understanding
state
before?
level.
It's at the state
level, they're trying to approve it.
right, so we're going over a legislative report, and there's a bill, and I think you said it was a Senate bill.
Yeah.
About county comptroller having the authority to pretty much review everything we do as well. And then the second bill Jillian's talking about is positive for the IDAs in that it pretty much would make it state law that it has to come to the local first, and that the counties wouldn't do it unless there was some other reason.
Okay, so the next two bills deal with transparency and public information. So 5543, which is I think it's a Senate bill as well. So this bill requires IDAs to have at least one representative from a local labor union that affects school districts, and state elected officials must receive notice of meetings. Agendas must be published in advance, and school districts have to receive IDA annual reports. So the goal of that bill is just to have, again, transparency and give information to the public about IDA operations, things like that.
Sorry, so it's yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to be
No.
annoying. So they said that there needs to be a union representative on each board?
This bill's not new. This is 2 or 3
But they're
years
two
old,
totally
and they
separate
keep,
different things. Why are they combined together as one? Like notification versus board makeup?
probably because they're trying to get the whole thing to pass.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's my guess. That's what they do. They lump it together. But there was a couple memos I remember reading in opposition to labor and school district representatives. But there's also, and I want to, there's another one coming up. You're gonna love this one. Yeah.
Okay, and then the next bill deals with same thing, transparency and public information. So this bill will establish a public online registry of vacant commercial storefronts. By developing a vacant commercial storefront registry, New York State will provide current and prospective small business owners with a valuable centralized resource to easily identify opportunities to locate their business.
What's
And-
the number on that?
We have a chart. We can send it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, this is,
Great.
yeah.
So you're saying it would be the IDA's responsibility to do that?
No, this is just an economic development bill.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
It will
Yeah.
allow IDAs to suggest entries for properties on the online registry.
okay.
So I guess it just gives you guys some action.
They want to do it.
Yeah.
Right, that's helpful.
Okay, and the next two bills deal with financial rules and tax policy. So 4771, each agency established to benefit a municipality shall charge the same fees to applicants seeking project assistance as the agency established to benefit the county where the municipality is located in. So I guess you guys just have to have charge the same fees as the county, and the municipality has to do the same thing.
So you can't shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the justification was the lack of standardization can sometimes incentivize project applicants to shop around between the IDAs, seeking the lowest fees and putting areas in the county at a disadvantage. Then the next bill is 4927. It says a town, city, or county agency shall not enter into agreements requiring payments in lieu of taxes or waive any other tax where such tax would be received by a school district. And here the justification was to alleviate the education shortages in teaching staff and resources. This bill tries to address this problem by disallowing IDAs from waiving school taxes.
So now I ask you, with the school taxes being the bulk of what a pilot, what's the point? That's just my, yeah. So that was the doozy right there. So we'll continue to watch these if they move, through committees, and I can't see.
Who's the sponsor on that last one?
You guys will see how it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, ideally, if you're giving a pilot, they're still paying more than they had been previously.
It depends. Yeah, it depends.
But what is that? I mean, probably
But-
90% of the,
That's the thing.
Projects
Most
are getting more-
municipalities, like the school districts, are between 70 and 80% usually of the bill.
Yeah.
So.
but if the property's vacant or underutilized and it's assessed at $1 million, the project at the end is going to be $8 million, and you give them a pilot of $4 million, right? They're still getting more money than they.
Yeah. If it's a true project, like, I mean, I'm thinking of, the other projects where we're doing it and they're actually paying more than they would at the assessed value.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
I can understand it, because if there's a significant cost to the project to the school district,
It's an assembly bill.
the school should have to say. What happens if you do a residential and the enrollment's it's gonna add 400 students to the school district? I mean, they should be able to say something about that.
yeah, well, normally I would expect a school district in that case to actually show up at the meetings and work with the IDA and say, hey, listen, we understand we need the housing, but you got to be careful here because you're going to add at so many students at X dollars, because they have a pretty good number of what it costs, to educate a per student. But yeah, and so, but yeah, when Jillian forwarded that to me, I'm like, ooh, look at these. This is getting feisty here this year. So thank you for that.
Is there,
Yeah.
I know that in the past, Capital Region IDAs have gotten together to support. Is there like a more formalized IDA coalition or like association or no?
I would think the alliance would be for Albany County, that vehicle, but it doesn't necessarily operate that way.
Yeah.
I know at the New York State Economic Development Council keeps track of legislation as well, but it's only part of what they do, and it's more on a macro level. So, I don't know. They'll put something out in pro support or not support, but it usually doesn't get down to IDAs. It's more of the general economic development legislation. But I know for the longest time, the council's been talking about putting something out. Like, here's how we should take IDAs and just reformat what they do and change the purposes and powers, because it's starting to not make sense, but
Because that last one's a doozy. I mean, the other ones are slightly annoying, but that last one is really big.
right. I mean, you're gonna, especially when you're trying to build housing,
Right.
you got to balance the school district's needs, obviously, with the housing and the need to build it. But that's where the IDAs really have to sit as a board and say, what's fair? We do need this housing, so what can we do?
Yeah.
And if they take, school taxes out of it altogether, maybe a larger project still benefits from the municipal side, the tax abatement, but.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm going to come back in with the marketing committee update quickly.
Okay.
And Brianna and I will tag team this one a little bit. So the marketing committee met back in February. I'm sorry, I think it was January, but we talked a lot about sort of the bigger picture of trying to figure out how to market some specific projects, and in particular the Vista piece. We've had a bunch of conversations since then, and Kate's been working on developing an RFP for some people to come in and give us some good advice on how to look at the strategy of the town and how to. So we're working on that. We're also working on a meeting with the town board to go over some of the projects that we're working on and kind of our bigger picture. And we are also working on coming up a meeting for businesses to introduce ourselves to them and to give some conversation around what those businesses need as well. So that's my quick update, and then we'll turn over to Brianne for her economic developers update.
So to piggyback on that a little bit, it's not a meeting with just the town board. It's all boards.
All boards.
So all boards within the town, including library board and school board, and have kind of a board meet and greet. There's times when the boards overlap. We don't all know each other great. So it's an opportunity to just clarify what some of those roles are, how they intersect with each other, and build some relationships and some, face recognition between board members, people who volunteer their time to support our community. So that is scheduled right now for May 6th, and it's here in the auditorium, and we'll be sending out a save the date shortly. I just have to get the email list together for that to go out to instant contact.
And we really wanted to just sort of go over again what the IDA does, and that, when we are looking at projects, we really do want input. And, to the extent that we can, push our meetings out to a larger group, especially the other boards, to know what it is that we're doing. It's always good to hear about input on tax incentives and pilots that we do while we're doing it, not after the fact. And that if some district or another board wants to have a discussion about a project, that, you know, they come to us, so.
And then the business breakfast that Chris mentioned, we were looking at having that maybe in June, but we're rethinking about that timing and it really being a better event in the fall and partnering with the chamber a little bit more on it to make sure that it's really well attended and supported. Then the training that was mentioned before that will be in conjunction with our June IDA meeting. I got us a nice spot in the Van Dusen house at the Spinney at Van Dyke for us to have that training. So we just have a little bit different locale, a little bit more privacy, and get you guys some info on that.
What was that date, June what?
It's our meeting, June 10th. Yeah. It'll extend beyond the meeting to do training. And we'll have that space for that. Okay, so anything else with marketing that we want to
Not today.
touch on? Okay, good. Then for my report, I just want to reiterate that the zoning is now with the town board and there will be public meetings held throughout the month of April into May. Do you have those? I don't need exact dates, but are any of them scheduled in May or are they all in April?
We are trying to get the North Bethlehem date nailed down, and that's going to depend on when the firehouse is available. And so we'll know in the next week.
Okay, so it's April, maybe into early May, and there will be 4 sessions around to capture everybody for another round of public comment on the zoning for the town board to work that through and put that to a vote, hopefully in June, but it might be in July. That's kind of the timing for the zoning at the moment. CPL was going to present today. They have a draft of kind of their final report for the industrial site study. And we just got that really late in the game to provide some comments and get it into its final form for them to present today. So they will present at our April meeting, which is April 22nd and not the second week of April. So it's later in the month. Then I also wanted to share with you all, because I mentioned before that I have asked the IDA to support me with an economic development CRM tool so that I can have an actual list of businesses within Bethlehem, and it can be information that we can utilize and keep current. It would be incredibly helpful. So I have done demos with 2 different economic development tools. One is Blue Dot and one is CivicServe. And it's been really interesting to learn what they offer. Blue Dot specifically is more of a CRM tool, but then they have a really robust, they call it their business database, where they pull from Google and they scrape whatever, and they have access to CoStar and all the things, and they put it together and they push business data into your CRM, and then you get to match it with what's actually here. That would be incredibly helpful because we don't always know what businesses come and go from our community, particularly businesses that operate out of a home office or that turn over in tenant space. We just don't always know. So that would be really useful.
And do they classify it by business type?
Yes,
Okay.
they classify it by business type, and then it's also integrated with GIS. So we can map out a particular area of town. We can look at what types of businesses, how many of what types of businesses. We can do a lot of our own market analysis of our market in a much more impactful way. So that's what Blue Dot offers. And then CivicServe offers that, and it is a really robust project tracking tool created for IDAs, and it does incentive management. So the price point on these 2 are really drastically different, but that's because CivicServe is all of the CRM stuff in addition to a potential tool for us to use for incentive tracking and dashboards, and it could make our projects really clear and visible for the board members, but also for the public. We can put like a public dashboard on our website that comes from the CivicServe data. So I'm gonna share the proposals financially with Kate and Victoria and have a more of an ask or a decision to the board next month. Yeah, so I'm excited about both tools, and then we just have to see which one we want to use and pay for.
Brian, I have one quick question on
Yeah.
the CRM piece. So one of the things that I think about with the CRM, and particularly when you're looking at deal flow, is there a way to track the time that a certain project takes in certain steps, and also where a project ends? Is that one of the things that's in there? To be able to say, this project made it to here, but then it ended because of this problem? So we can track that a little more.
For IDA projects?
Or
for business
projects in
retention
general.
expansion?
The CRM type.
Yeah, for the CRM type, yes, there is. And I can also use either of these tools for the grant management, for the micro enterprise grant and the CDBG funds. There are some nice project management tools. There's event management available in both of them. So like these events that we're going to do, you can have, you can put events in there and people can register through the tool and things like that. So it does give us a lot of functionality for various things that we do.
Cool. The site study,
Yes.
is the objective to get perhaps a hard copy to the board members
Ahead of
really
time.
before the meeting, like at
Yes.
least 2 weeks before the meeting?
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to be able to have something for you guys to be prepared to come with questions for the presentation and not see it. So
Well-
we just got it too late to be able to do that.
It's one of our survey questions that we have to answer every year. Do we get information in a timely manner?
Right.
This is a big thing we've spent, so
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
thank you.
I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Great. So we can move on to new business. So the first item would be the presentation of the results of the board's self-evaluation. Mr. Victor.
Yeah, so, as we do every year, there's 2 sets of evaluation. One where the board members evaluate the board themselves, and then a second one where the board members evaluate the performance of the executive director. So I'm happy to report that we have all of the evaluations in for the board evaluation, but we do not have all the evaluations in for the executive board evaluation. So I brought copies in case anybody wants to fill one out on their way out, the meeting. That would be greatly appreciated because Victoria and myself will review kind of like what the outcome is. And then we'll sit down with Kate and kind of go over, at an aggregate level, everything's strictly confidential. Hey, this is the strengths, this is the weaknesses, kind of chart out the coming year. And then don't forget also related to this and all the paperwork that the Hedgeman Law Firm sent out to people is other compliance documents, this disclosure statement, and then fiduciary duties and responsibilities form. So if you haven't filled those out, I also bring copies as well. So going back to the summary of the board performances, so pretty good grades across the board. There were 3 areas where we didn't get perfect scores. So kind of just want to highlight those. So there was a mixed result where the board, people felt like the board set clear and measurable performance goals for the authority and that they contribute to the accomplishment of that mission. So it was 4 were in agreement and 3 were somewhat agreed. And then in terms of board members have sufficient opportunity to research, discuss, question, prepare before decisions are being made or votes are taken. That skewed more to kind of a downward trend where 3 board members agreed and 4 members only somewhat agreed. And then the last one is individual board members feel empowered to delay votes, defer agenda items, or table actions. 5 members agreed and 2 members only somewhat agreed. So the kind of like this aggregate report will be filed with the ABO as it's required of us every year. That's it.
So I did have a question. This is personal. We can talk offline, but I stepped out when you were talking about the trainings. I guess this question for you and Kate, because I'm on 2 other authorities. I'm just trying to keep up with my trainings.
Yeah. So one training accomplishes all. So if you take an ABO training, it kind of like satisfies our requirement as well as any other board that you sit on.
Because that thing I have to do financial reporting. I have to do all that.
Yeah, so there's no financial reporting required for us, but for your other boards, I can't speak to.
I got you.
If you have your
The
email
state
that
ones.
says you satisfied or completed the ABO training, you can just forward it to them.
Okay. I'll do
I'm
that.
looking for mine.
Yeah, so once you do complete it, forward
We'll
it to
trust
Kate and copy me as well, just so I
Will
can.
do.
Okay, so we can move on to the review of the mission statement.
Sorry, can I-
Oh, yeah, of course.
So with the ones that we, that there was a somewhat agree, will the governance committee then work and talk on some recommendations to the executive director about how we can move into the mostly agree category, or?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that is kind of part and parcel to the executive director conversation.
Okay,
So yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right.
All right, so the next couple reviews are the documents that we have to submit on an annual basis to the ABO. So you have your mission statement and performance measures is the first one. I put together a draft of that. The mission statement obviously was adopted years ago and continues to, we looked at it, I think, maybe 3 or 4. When I first got here, I forget when it was, but
It's 3 years ago.
was it? Okay. So that, hasn't really changed much, and probably won't unless there's an overriding reason to do that. So there's usually 5 or 6 areas of, goals that the IDA has under major categories. So advanced job opportunities, obviously. And I think in some of and this is really goes to what have IDAs traditionally done? You've done the economic incentives. So we help create jobs by, giving pilots and sales tax exemptions and all that. But what else could an IDA do? And marketing has really started to take us down that path. Like, how can we support business attraction and retention in the town? And that very much could be, a market study that the RFP is done. It's circulating throughout the marketing committee first, and then we'll bring it to all of you to take a look at the different types of business that are in the town and our sites that are available. Like, it's going to look at a lot of different things. So that kind of fits under advancing job opportunities. Foster the creation of new business with our micro enterprise grants. Sometimes we get a few startups through that program that we support. And also, even if we're at different events or things and businesses are looking for a place to locate, it may not be a Bethlehem resident, but maybe there's something we could do to get that business to come here. Identify new opportunities for the local economy. I think we will accomplish that goal through the market study and getting the results of that, and then having a list of, potential programs we could do, or we might be able to financially support something that's already happening. We have to look at that. So that's the mission statement and goals measurement report, and this gets filed as part of our annual report, our Paris report, to the ABO. Any questions on that one? Amendments?
I guess my only thought is, I know because town of Bethlehem doesn't have a real economic development arm, the IDA has been really going above and beyond the responsibilities of the IDA. So I guess my question or comment is, do we really like, what's the benefit of adding the extra piece to the IDA's mission if it doesn't, if it's above compliance?
What do you mean?
If the IDA's goal is literally just to approve pilots, and we don't have a CRC, do we?
He's concerned about mission creep.
Yes.
The marketing committee has discussed other recommendations that we will make, including additional organizations that might be formed in the town.
Right. Yeah, no, because I'm just,
Because I know that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, and I want to kind of go back to the evaluation. It's like the IDA can only do the business it gets into it, not necessarily go out there and fish nets and fish bait. It literally is.
Well, you can go out and go after projects.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that, but it's still, we're still a reactionary.
Well, that's my
by
point. I think
law.
that's going to change with a lot of what the marketing committee is suggesting we do. And part of that marketing strategic plan, the committee has discussed the roles of LDCs,
Right.
the roles of CRCs, and those type of things. But we aren't quite ready to make that recommendation yet, and that would be out of our hands. It would just be a thought because the town board would have to create that, and would need, some real good justification to create it. So,
And at that point, that stuff will come out of the IDAs.
right, that's yeah.
Wasn't it that we have the opportunity to do it because we're well capitalized, we have sufficient resources to do it,
Yes.
okay? That's the reason why we can do it.
And it's
I mean,
not
we
that
can.
can't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No,
But we have the
can.
wherewithal to do it.
Right.
And I think it's prudent to do it, in my estimation.
We can't make loans, though, to your point, or grants, and that's really an LDC function. So we brought that up and we've talked through that. And, we could be a pass-through of the IDA for a grant, for some sort of, whether it's Restore or New York Forward or something like that. But we certainly can't run a grant program and grant our own funds, but that's something that an LDC certainly could do, if we think it makes sense.
Right.
But it's awfully hard to attract business with just pilots and tax incentives. The micro enterprise grant program is a big deal. If we had other grant, type incentives, things like that are side by side, yeah, definitely would give us more tools in our toolbox.
So I think, there's a larger conversation going on at a higher level, where even the IDA as kind of like a vehicle is outdated.
Yes.
The whole fact of the word industrial is outdated.
That was part of Jeff and McDonald's conversation
And
at the
so-
conference.
So at the conference, they had mentioned, well, why not redesignating
Rebrand, yeah.
IDAs into something else, which kind of can incorporate and fold into the LDCs and so on and so forth, and become something more contemporary or what fits the modern economic development model. But, so maybe, who knows, maybe we're ahead of our time and then the state will catch up with us. But, those conversations that you're concerned about are already happening at a higher level.
Yeah, it's going to take a while
Oh,
to get there.
Oh, yeah.
But our biggest restraint, and this, is what we can actually spend funds on.
Right.
And so a lot of times municipalities will come to the IDA and say, hey, you've got $1 million. Like, we need a new fire truck, or and we can't do that. Our funds can't be used for stuff like that. So I don't think with IDA reform that they're going to go that far. But they are going to probably let us use money more towards economic development initiatives, more so than we can right now. So, all right. So anything else on the
That was the mission statement.
Yep. And then we've got assessment of internal controls, which our auditors and our finance staff and committees had already conducted that. We had no issues with internal controls on our audit. This is a specific document that we have to submit to the ABO that shows that what we've considered and the risks we've considered to, as threats to internal controls that we submit every year. So that's really pretty straightforward.
I think this is low document.
It might be because we updated it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, there's operations and accomplishments. And we did update that because we noticed that the last year's one was uploaded instead of 2025. But overall, I think we're in a really great economic position. As Georgette mentioned, there was only, we were down, $20,000 for our position. One of our biggest accomplishments and biggest assets is that Brianne came to us finally as staff from the Senior Economic Development Office. So we are extremely lucky to have her, and she's already been told she can't go anywhere. We're still doing the industrial study with CPL, and I was hoping to report that it would have been completed in 25, but it hasn't. So, but that's okay. We're getting close. We closed on the GB2 PSEG pilot, as I mentioned, which had been a 20-year pilot that needed a lot of work that had gone into it to get this new pilot in place for the next 12 years. We continue to attend, the CEG meeting, the County Alliance meetings, and the New York State Economic Development Council meetings to kind of keep up to date with what's going on in economic development. Let me see. We have done sub-training, which was good. We had a memo and we reviewed on a use of executive session. We've done the committee charters, which is another accomplishment for governance. And this quarter, I think, hopefully before the end of April, we will launch the market study RFP. Still waiting on feedback, from all of you on that, and then we can get some feedback from the general board as well. I think one of the biggest goals would be to at least encourage new projects for this year. I mean, that's how the IDA has, makes fees, and that's our primary function. So, I think through Brianne and Rob and their office and planning, if a project comes in through them, they're pretty in tune of, what's going on with that kind of stuff. And if there's an opportunity for the IDA to be a resource to a project, they're pretty good in connecting us to that. Anything on the operations and accomplishments that you think I may have forgotten, or?
I think we've done a good job.
Okay. It's like grade school. Give yourself a hand.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that gets submitted to the ABO as well. Then we have our Paris report. Al, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you should have your Paris report. It's a 26-page document. Hasn't changed much over the last 20 years or so. The first few pages talk about our governance and, all the things we do and where we have documents where people could find them on our website. The next couple pages talk about our board of directors and who they are and when they were appointed and how they were appointed. And that hasn't changed. Then we go to our staff listing, which is one of the trickeries of these reportings, because we're listed as staff, but we don't have any compensation. Apparently, we do this out of the goodness out of our hearts, and actually that'll show up in a procurement report, which is a separate report that we do every year. We talk about all the great benefits that all of our staff members receive, which are none that I'm aware of, other than the pleasure of each other's company for an hour or two every month. And then we talk about any subsidiary component units, which we don't have any. The next couple pages 10 and 11 and 12, are a snapshot of our financials. And when these are looked at by OSC staff, they will compare them to our actual audited financial statements to make sure that they match, which is comforting to know that somebody else is looking over our shoulder. Then we talk about our outstanding debt, which we have some. On the next page, we show that the conduit debt, which is the American Housing and the Vista program and the payments that were made during the year. Pages 15 and 16, we just talk about that we don't have any real property or personal property disposals. We have all the required documents. And then the last bunch of pages are our ongoing projects where we talk about, the tax pilot that they made and what the exemption was. And that's just based on what the property is assessed for and the percentage each year of the pilot. As the older a project gets, the closer they get to paying 100%. We're a bit of an anomaly because the way we do our PSEG project, the assessed value that's put on that figure, 100 million, they pay more in a pilot than they would pay on the taxes on that 100 million. What is that project? What would it really be assessed for? Who knows? It would cost way more to figure it out than it's worth because everybody's comfortable with the amount of pilot that they're paying, and it's it's a wonderful project down on River Road. Did anybody have any questions on the 26 pages of the parish report?
No.
Our goal that we always meet is to file this by March 31st, the statutory deadline. So the next couple of days, I'll be reaching out to Kate to go over the report she has and getting them uploaded and putting all the other data on it. And we should file this sometime before March 20. So we're comfortably ahead of the filing deadline, which is important.
So then our last item of business is the resolution to approve the mission statement, the performance measures, assessment of internal controls, operations and accomplishments, and Paris reports.
You take a motion.
Okay, so I will take a motion to approve that.
Second.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry.
Second, I'll second it.
Who got the second? You got the second.
Well, either
Okay,
one.
all right. So any discussion? Seeing none, I will move to all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes.
And I have just one other new business.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, go ahead.
Just before the meeting, I asked Kate about the clock tower modifications, and I asked if the taxing jurisdictions were a participant in that decision, and questioned whether they were or not, and evidently they weren't, that we know of. And I just thought it would, in good governance, the taxing jurisdictions should be made a party to the approval process if they're going to modify a pilot, so they can either agree or disagree and state their case.
I know that John McPhillips from the school district did send a letter to the county, regarding the school district's thoughts on basically rolling back the requirement for the number of jobs that they would have been required to, have over the length of the pilot. So I know he sent that out, but I don't know that the town has. But they certainly didn't ask for comment. John just decided to send it. Yeah. Did you want to ask about putting the housing policy on for governance?
I don't know. I had it in mind earlier when I asked the question. So
Okay.
I think when you go through the UTEP policy, we should look at what Gilderland and some other ideas are doing about workforce housing. That's my feedback.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we didn't officially approve the audit?
Yep, we gotta do that.
I just
Okay.
don't want us to leave without.
All right.
So motion to approve the audit needs to be made.
So moved.
Yeah, I could second it.
All right. All in favor of approving the audit?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. So before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you. A lot of people here have done a lot of work to make this all happen. This is our big time of year with all of the reports. And so thank everyone for coming, and I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Thank you, everyone.
Just remember, I won't be at the governor's meeting.
Okay.
So you need a quorum.